السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته، وأسعد الله أوقاتكم بالخير واليمن والبركات. أساتذتنا الكرام، طلبتنا الأعزاء، في ورشتنا لهذا اليوم التي هي بعنوان مشكلات إتقان الأزمنة من قبل متعلمي اللغة الإنجليزية، والتي قمت بإعدادها لتعم الفائدة ولتكون مرجعا لكل من التدريسين والطلبة على حد سواء. نتحدث في هذه الورشة عن إحدى المشكلات التي قد تؤرق الكثير حتى التدريسين منهم، وكيف لا تؤرق المتعلمين بشكل عام. كلنا يعلم أن الأزمنة في اللغة الإنجليزية وكيفية اتقانها هي مشكلة بحد ذاتها، لأن الأزمنة في اللغة الإنجليزية تختلف عن الأزمنة في لغتنا الأم وهي اللغة العربية. إذن في هذه الورشة سنسلط الضوء على مشكلات إتقان الأزمنة من قبل متعلمي اللغة الإنجليزية، والمقصود هنا الذين يستخدمون اللغة الإنجليزية كلغة أجنبية وليست كلغة ثانية. مشكلات إتقان الأزمنة ليست محصورة بمتعلمي اللغة الأجنبية، بل حتى المتحدثين باللغة الأم، هنا أقصد اللغة الإنجليزية، فهم يعانون من تلك المشكلات. فلذلك لا ضير من تعلم تلك الأزمنة واتقانها بشكل صحيح حتى نتمكن من استخدامها في حياتنا اليومية، في كتاباتنا، بل في كل ما يتعلق من الفعاليات والمهارات الواجب اتقانها من الجميع. نرجو أن تقضوا معنا وقتا ممتعا بالاستماع للشرح عن هذه المشكلات، وأسأل الله التوفيق للجميع. وسنبدأ بمناقشة تلك المشكلات من خلال طرح بعض الرؤى والأمثلة التي تعزز كل ما نتحدث به، وشكرا.
Let's first talk about the difference between tense and time, because I know that many of us as learners of the foreign language, we couldn't distinguish properly between these two aspects. We should look at how to avoid confusing tense with time and the structure of the 12 basic tenses. It is important not to confuse the name of a verb tense with the way we use it to talk about time. For example, a present tense does not always refer to present time. Let's take this example. I hope it rains tomorrow. Rains here, the verb rain, is present simple, but it refers to future time, tomorrow. Or a past tense does not always refer to past time. Like in the example, if I had some money now, I could buy it. So the verb had is past simple, but it refers here to present time now. After we got like a distinction between tense and time, now I'm going to move to the 12 basic tenses in English. The first two are present simple and continuous, and sometimes we call it progressive. We have past simple and continuous, future simple and continuous, present perfect tense and present perfect continuous, past perfect tense and past perfect continuous, future perfect tense and future perfect continuous. This is about the difference between tense and time and the basic tenses in English. ما زال الكثير منا يخلط ما بين التسميتين the tense and the time. لذلك من الضروري جدا أن نميز بين هذين المفهومين، لأن الزمن يتعلق بالفعل، بينما يتعلق الوقت بوقت حدوث هذا الفعل. لذلك نرى في المثال الأول استخدمنا المضارع البسيط الفعل rain كما لاحظتوا، لكن الإشارة هنا ليست للمضارع البسيط وإنما للزمن المستقبل، عفوا للوقت المستقبل. وأيضا في المثال الثاني استخدمنا الفعل had في زمن الماضي البسيط، لكن الإشارة إلى الوقت الحاضر، ولذلك استخدمنا now. وبعد ذلك تطرقنا إلى الأزمنة الأساسية 12 في اللغة الإنجليزية. Now we move to the first tense in English, which is present tense. Before we talk about it, we should know how to use this tense and what are the forms of it. We have here, I summarized 3 uses of this tense. The first one, we use it for activities that happen again and again, and we can use some of the expressions like the adverbs every day, sometimes, ever, never, and so on. In the examples here, I sometimes go to school by bike. The other example, you don't speak Greek. Do they get up early? She often travels. She doesn't work. Does she ever help you? The second use, we use it for facts that are always true. Our planet moves around the sun. This is a reality, a fact. Lions eat meat. The third usage, with a future time expression like tomorrow, next week, here it is used for planned future actions like in the timetables. The train leaves at 8:15. They return tonight. Now we come to the forms in which the present tense is used. We use it in the positive statement, I play, she plays. The negative statement, I do not play or I don't play, contracted. She doesn't play, she doesn't play. And the questions, do you play? Does she play? The negative questions, do you not play? Don't you play? Does she not play? Doesn't she play? And the negative normally express what? A surprise. Doesn't she work? Like we are surprising. Okay. Now we come to the WH questions in forming the present tense. If the WH pronoun introducing the question and who, which is the subject of the question here, we do not use the auxiliary verb do. Let's compare the following sentences. Who knows you? Who is the subject? Which cars belong to you? Which cars is the subject? But who do you know? Who is the object here? Which cars do you like? Which cars is the object here? بالمختصر المفيد نستخدم الزمن المضارع البسيط للفعاليات التي تحدث متكررة، يعني مرارا وتكرارا، يعني العادات the habits. okay, daily activities. okay. وأيضا للحقائق، يعني الشمس، الأرض تدور حول الشمس، وهكذا. الأسود تأكل اللحم. وأيضا في حال التعابير التي تدل على المستقبل، كما في المثال القطار يغادر الساعة 8:15، أو يعودون هذه الليلة. وأيضا استخداماتها نستخدمها في الجمل المثبتة والمنفية، وفي السؤال، وأيضا في السؤال المنفي، وأيضا في السؤال المنفي اللي عادة ما يعبر لنا عن الاستغراب. وهنالك لازم نميز ما بين حالتين بالسؤال، استخدام ضمير السؤال هنا اللي هو بالسؤال. مثلا عندنا بالسؤال بالمثال الأول لاحظوا هو هنا صارت في محل وين الفاعل، وفي الثانية which cars أصبحت في محل الفاعل أيضا، في حين بالمثال الآخر لا، تغير الموقع مالتهم، وأيضا وظيفتهم تغيروا إلى المفعول به. When we use the third person singular, in this case there should be s ending. It means the verb should end by s third person singular, or es ending, like in goes in the third person singular. Peter plays tennis. My son goes to primary school. The second one, in questions, we use does in the third person singular plus the verb infinitive, play, not plays, play and not plays. Does Peter play tennis? So here we use play as infinitive, verb infinitive. We have some spelling rules. We add es to the verb that ends in double s, sh, ch, x and o, like miss, misses, fix, fixes, go, goes. If the verb ends in a consonant and y, we change y into I and add es, like in the examples carry, carries, try, tries. But play, look here, play, plays, we do not change the y into ies because it ends in a vowel and y. The verb to be in the present simple tense has completely different forms. We come to the first form, the positive. I am, you are, he, she, it is, we are, they are. And we have the short forms. You, his, she's, its, we're, they. We have examples. I'm from Iraq. He is old. They are funny. The negative form. I'm not. You are not. He, she, it is not. We are not. They are not. And the short forms, and you know these, the contracted al-siyagh al-mukhtasara. We have examples here. I'm not hungry. He is not English. They are not here. And the questions, question form. Am I? Are you? Is he, she, it? Are we? Are they? And the negative form as well. Negative question here. Am I not? Are you not? Is he, she, it not? Are we not? Are they not? and we have the short forms as well. We have some examples here. Am I your friend? Is she in London? Are they at school? Am I not your friend? Is he not in London? Are they not at school? Isn't he in London? Aren't they at school? So هنا في حال استخدام فعل الكينونة be راح يكون الصيغ مالته راح تكون مختلفة تماما في حال الأفعال الاحتيادية، وقد وضحنا في هذه الأمثلة، وهذا موضوع بسيط. We come to the second form of the present, which is present continuous or present progressive tense. We come to the uses of this. So we have three uses of this form. We use the present continuous tense for activities that are happening just now. Examples: I'm learning English at the moment. You aren't listening. Why is he sitting here? The second use, we use it for an action happening about this time, today, this week, and so on, but not necessarily at the moment of speaking. It is a temporary activity. Like in the examples, I'm in London, I'm staying at the hotel. Look here, but just now can be somewhere else. It means here the activity, we are not talking about what the moment of speaking. It is a temporary activity. The second example, she cannot go out. She's writing her essay today. It means that she can be having lunch at the moment. The third example, you can't borrow this book today. May is reading it here, but not right now. It means she is not reading it right now. And the third use of it with a future time expression like soon, on Monday, and so on. It is used for definite arrangements in the near future. The present continuous tense is more personal than the simple present tense because it expresses the speaker's plan. I'm leaving soon. We are meeting on Monday. Now we come to the forms of the present continuous tense. We have some forms here: positive, negative, questions, and we have examples on them. And how to form the present continuous tense? We form it with the verb to be plus the ing, and the negative question normally express a surprise as in the simple present tense. Isn't he working? So here we are showing a surprise as well. إذن نستخدم المضارع المستمر للتعبير عن الفعاليات التي تحصل الآن، أوكي، والمستمرة بالحدوث. وأيضا بالنسبة الفعالية التي تحصل الآن، أوكي، وليس بالضرورة في لحظة التكلم، يعني بما معنى عن فعالية هي وقتية كما في الأمثلة الثلاث. وأيضا للتعبير عن الوقت وليس الزمن. وقت المستقبل، وهنا نستخدمها في بعض الترتيبات المحددة اللي هي عن المستقبل القريب. إذن هنا زمن المضارع المستمر هو أكثر شخصي من المضارع البسيط. لماذا؟ لأنه يعبر عن ما يدور أو ما يخطط له المتحدث، كما في المثالين I'm leaving soon، أغادر حالا، يعني سيمانتيكلي دلاليا ومن حيث الوقت يعني بمعنى فيها futurity، فيها مستقبلية. and we are meeting on Monday بمعنى احنا ليس الآن وإنما بالمستقبل. وعندنا الصيغ التي تحدثنا عنها اللي هي صيغ استخدام هذا الزمن المستمر في حالة الإثبات والنفي والسؤال. وفي آخر نقطة هي أيضا نستخدمها للتعبير عن الاستغراب. The basic type of tense is the past tense. When we are going to use this form, we are going to use it for activities or situations that were completed at a definite time. The time here could be classified into three types. The time can be given in the sentence, like in the example, I came home at 6 o'clock. When he was a child, here is the time as well, he didn't live in a house. The second kind of time, the time is asked about. When we are going to ask about the time, when did they get married? The third type of time is not given in the sentence, but it is clear from a context that the action or situation was finished. She's 20 years old. She was born in Iraq. And in conversation like this, Suha, I've been to Erbil. Kauthar replied, did you enjoy it? The second use of this form, I mean the past tense, we use it for repeated activities. Like he walked to school every day. That was in the past. And did you ever go by bus? The last use, the past simple, is used in stories to describe events that follow each other. Huda entered the hall and looked around. She took off her coat and put it on a chair. She was at home. إذن نستخدم الزمن الماضي البسيط للتعبير عن الفعاليات والمواقف التي اكتملت في وقت محدد. وقت محدد، هنالك إشارة. وهذه الأوقات قد تكون تعطى في الجملة كما في المثال الأول قلنا الساعة 6، وفي أيضا في العبارة اللي هي when he was a child، أيضا هذه تعبير عن الظرف. We call it adverbial clause, time clause. and أيضا في السؤال when. والحالة الثالثة من الزمن لا تعطى في الجملة وإنما هي واضحة من خلال السياق، لأن العملية هنا أو الموقف هو قد اكتمل، كما في الأمثلة she's 20 years old، عمرها 20 سنة، ولدت في العراق، was born in Iraq، يعني هنا الماضي، يعني واضح من خلال السياق. وأيضا في المحاورة ما بين سهى وكوثر هنا I've been to Erbil، كنت في أربيل، وتسألها هل تمتعت بسفرك أو. والحالة الثالثة اللي نستخدم بها الزمن الماضي هو للفعاليات المتكررة المعادة. لاحظوا هنا يعني معادة وين؟ بيا زمن في الزمن الماضي. كنا نمشي إلى المدرسة كل يوم، يعني هنا بالماضي. هل تذهب، هل ذهبت يوما ما بالحافلة؟ والاستخدام الثالث بالنسبة للماضي البسيط هو في الستوريز، يعني في القصص اللي هي توصلنا أحداث متلاحقة واحد بعد الآخر. هدى entered the hall and looked around، يعني دخلت إلى القاعة ونظرت من حولها، و قلعت معطفها ووضعته على الكرسي وهكذا. Here we are still talking about the uses of the past simple tense. We have two types of English verbs in the past simple, the regular and irregular verbs, but we do not have this in other tenses like the present. They have different forms for positive statements. I mean, the regular verbs, I play, I played. Here, play is a regular verb, but irregular is go. I say I go, I went. But questions and negatives are made in the same way. We have forms of the verb here, the positive statement, the negative statement, the question form, the negative forms, and we have these examples. The regular verbs usually end in ed. We call it ed1 because we have another ed for the past participle. In case of the regular verbs, this ending is the same for all persons, singular and plural, because we don't have dual case in English. Now we come to very, very important point, and most of my students, I mean, they did a mistake and mix up between the verb to be as a main verb and the auxiliary did. The auxiliary verb did is not used with to be. We cannot use it with verb to be. Cannot be two verbs together. Okay? In a specific type of WH questions and modal verbs, we can use them. We also do not use the auxiliary did to make indirect questions and reported questions either. إذن هنالك نوعان من الأفعال الإنجليزية بالزمن الماضي البسيط، وهما الفعل القياسي والفعل الشاذ. وهنا حتى نتخلص من المشكلة باستخدام هذه الأفعال يجب علينا أن نحفظ الأفعال الشاذة في اللغة الإنجليزية، وهي باستطاعة أي منا أن يحفظها من خلال الاستخدام. طبعا هنالك صيغ للفعل، هنا هي الصيغة المثبتة والنفي وصيغة السؤال وصيغة السؤال المنفي. بالنسبة للأفعال الاحتيادية يعني القياسية عادة تنتهي بمن؟ تنتهي بالسفكس ed، هذا هو نسميه inflectional suffix، وهذا ed1 يعني هذا رقم واحد، لأنه أيضا عندنا التصريف الثالث للفعل أيضا يأخذ ed بالأفعال القياسية. إذن هذه الed تنتهي لكل الأشخاص، يعني كأنه يكون بالمفرد أو بالجمع. بالنسبة للفعل المساعد did بالماضي لا يستخدم مع أفعال الكينونة be، يعني لا يجوز أن يستخدم الفعلين في آن واحد، وهذا خطأ شائع يستخدموه كثير من طلبتنا، خاصة في بعض الأنواع من الأسئلة وفي الافعال المودال فيربس المودال auxiliaries يعني shall will can could and so on. وكذلك لا نستخدم الفعل المساعد did لتكوين الأسئلة الغير مباشرة أو نسميها reported questions. الخطأ الرئيسي اللي يقع به طلبتنا حقيقة هو أن يضع فعليا في آن واحد فعل كينونة وفعل رئيسي آخر. فعل الكينونة هنا أقصد به الفعل الرئيسي أيضا وليس فعل مساعد. مثلا نقول he is go أوكي، في حين نقدر نتخلص من عندها عندما نحول هذه الصيغة إلى أو he was go أوكي بالماضي، نتخلص من عندها بشيء هو بالصيغة صيغة الزمن المستمر، ها نتخلص من عندها نقول he is going or he was going وتنتهي المسألة. It's time to move to a new tense. This is the third one, the past continuous or progressive tense. We use this tense for uninterrupted activities or situations. If the action is interrupted, it means it is not continuous. Something is done in more intervals or we did more things one after another. In this case we use the simple, not the continuous. Look here in the examples. She was watching TV on Sunday. She watched TV in the morning and in the evening. Yesterday I was working in the garden. Yesterday I worked in the garden and on my house. Here we move to the use of the time, the expression of the time. It means that here we use it to express the idea that an action in the past continuous started before the action expressed by the past simple and continued after it. If we have two actions, look at this example. When she saw me, I was looking at the trees. So these two actions happened at the same time. I was looking at the trees for some time and she saw me in the middle of it. Look, compare these two examples, or this sentence, sorry. When she saw me, I looked at the trees. Here I used two simple past. These two actions happened one after another. First she saw me and then I looked at the trees. Then with a point in time describe an action that started before that time and continued after it. Look at these examples. At 8 o'clock she was doing her homework. What does that mean? That means at 8 o'clock she was in the middle of the activity. It means she was ongoing. She didn't finish it. Compare to this example. At 8 o'clock she did her homework. It means that she started the activity at 8 o'clock and finished it. إذن نستخدم الزمن الماضي البسيط الماضي المستمر للفعاليات الغير متوقفة، يعني بما معنى المستمرة الغير منقطعة. إذا ما الفعالية تم مقاطعتها، كما يعني أنا أتحدث في الدرس ويأتي أحد يقاطعني، إيش راح يصير عندي؟ راح يصير عندي توقف. يعني تنقطع استمراريتي. فإذا انقطعت الاستمرارية وصار هذا الحدث، يعني أقول مثلا المثال، بينما كنت ألقي محاضرة دخلت إحدى طالباتي، هاي دخلت أوكي صارت في وقت محدد، صار interruption. أوكي هنا استخدمت الماضي البسيط. إذن إحنا نعبر عن فكرة بأنه فعالية ما بالماضي المستمر بدأت قبل فعالية معبر عنها بالماضي البسيط واستمرت بعدها، كما في المثالين عندما رأتني كنت أنظر إلى الأشجار. أوكي يعني مستمر بالهذه، يعني معناها هنا فعاليتين حدثين أوكي حصلوا هنا بنفس الوقت. يعني أنا كنت أنظر للأشجار لوقت ما، وهي رأتني في أثناء ذلك النظر وأنا أمعن النظر في الأشجار. يعني بمعنى شنو؟ كانت تراقبني. بالمثال الثاني استخدمنا زمنيا للماضي، إذا وزمن حصل بعد الثاني، يعني زمن حصل بعد الثاني، يعني بما معنى أنه أول شيء هي رأتني وبعدين أنا نظرت إلى الأشجار. نأتي إلى النقطة الثانية، في نقطة معينة أو فاصل معين من الوقت لوصف حدث ما بدأ قبل ذلك الوقت واستمر بعده. يعني عندما نقول في الساعة 8 كانت أوكي تشتغل على واجبها البيتي، ماشي. إذا هنا كانت في المعمعة، يعني كانت تشتغل مستمرة، يعني لم تكمله بعد. يعني مثل طالباتنا تشتغل على الواجب البيتي وتطلع ما مكملته، هاي للمفارقة يعني. وفي الجملة الثانية لاحظوا هي بدأت الساعة 8 وانتهت. إذن هذا فيما يتعلق باستخدامات الاستخدام الثالث هنا لزمن الماضي المستمر هو لوصف حالة. It is used to describe a situation, while the simple is used to express what? Action in stories. I will give you some examples here. The sun was shining. Amal and Huda were lying on the beach. Amal was reading a book and Huda was sleeping. Suddenly Amal raised her head. Huda woke up. Something happened. 4. It describes an activity which was not finished, in contrast with the simple past, which describes a completed activity. So here we are comparing the past simple with the past continuous tense. This is one of the problems most of you are facing. So let's look at the example. I was reading a book yesterday and today I'm going to continue. I read the book yesterday. I read the book yesterday. I can lend it to you now. The fifth one, it can be used to show a more casual action. The simple is for a deliberate action. I was walking to my neighborhood yesterday. We had a nice chat. What does that mean? It means that I didn't do it on purpose. We just met in the street. I talked to my neighbor yesterday and he promised to help me. What does that mean? It means I did it on purpose. I needed to ask him for help. So the past continuous is formed with the past tense of the verb to be and the present participle ing. And then how to form it. This is how to form it, sorry. And we have some forms like the positive and the negative and the question and the negative question. إذا نأتي إلى الاستخدامات الأخرى هنا أيضا الاستخدام الثالث والرابع والخامس لوصف حالة أوكي بينما الزمن البسيط يستخدم الحالات أو الفعاليات يعني بقصة مثل هذه نتكلم عن أمل وهدى. وأيضا بالرابعة يصف لنا فعالية لم تكتمل مقارنة بالزمن الماضي البسيط اللي هو شنو هو يعبر لنا عن فعالية اكتملت في وقت محدد معين. يعني مثلا هنا I was reading a book yesterday and today I'm going to continue. يعني أمس كنت أقرأ كتاب يعني لم ينتهي من عنده يعني يقول أنا راح أستمر. والخامسة ممكن يستخدم يبين لنا الفعالية الطبيعية المو كاجوال أوكي. وهنا نستخدم الزمن البسيط لفعالية محددة أوكي يعني لغرض محدد أوكي غرض محدد. يعني كما في المثالين في الحالة الأولى أوكي لم يقم بها لغرض أوكي وفقط التقوا مصادفة في حين بالثانية لا يعني هو فعل ذلك لغرض ما أوكي لأنه كان يحتاج مساعدة يطلب مساعدة. وكيف صياغة الماضي البسيط كلنا احنا نعرفها لكن للتذكار انه هو الفعل فعل الكينونة في الزمن الماضي و verb the verb plus ing form. It's the future simple tense. Though to me I never call the future a tense, as I believe as other scholars that we have only two tenses in English, which is the present and the past. And I think I explained this issue in the previous workshop when I talked about the mood, the modality, because future okay we express it by using modal verbs, and modal verbs are changing the mood of the verb. So now we come to the forms of the future. We have the positive statement, we have the negative, we have the question, we have the negative question, and we have examples. In the future tense we can also use shall in the first person singular and plural like I and we, but it is quite formal in modern English and not very common. I shall do it for you, or we shall come soon. This is in the formal and in legal okay context or text. We have three cases in which we are going to use the future simple tense. The first, we use it to express a general intention. We intend to do something. He will change his job. It means he has the intention to. We will travel abroad. short form of will here. Will. I will not need it. They won't change the telephone number. Will you take the exam? And the second use for predictions or opinions. I will, it will snow in winter. We are predicting, we are expecting, okay? The horse will not win. This is an opinion or expectation. And in the future tense, we can use some of the verbs or adverbs to say that we assume something but we are not sure, like think, be sure, hope, believe, suppose, perhaps, possibly, probably, surely. They will probably study at university. I don't think she'll accept it. The third use, the future simple, is used for a decision or offer made at the moment of speaking. Can I walk you home? No, thank you. I will take a taxi. Please tell Miriam about it. Okay, I'll call her. But in this example, I'm not going to call Miriam. Do you want me to say hello to her? Going to here shows our decision made before the moment of speaking. إذن هنالك صيغ الإثبات وصيغة النفي وصيغة السؤال وصيغة السؤال المنفي بالنسبة للمستقبل. وكما شرحت بالإنجليزية قبل قليل، أتفق مع معظم علماء اللغة والقواعد بالقول أن هنالك زمنين في المحددين، هما الزمن الحاضر والزمن الماضي. لماذا؟ لأن كما شرحت في الورشة السابقة أنه المستقبل لتدخل الأفعال المساعدة التقلبية راح تتغير فعاليته، وأيضا تتغير المعاني حسب التغيرات بالتركيب. وهنا ليس هنالك دلالة واضحة على الوقت الزمن يعني. لذلك بالمستقبل وممكن أن نستخدم shall بدلا عن will، وهذا في الإنجليزية الحديثة بالأساليب الأكثر رسمية، وفي النصوص القانونية أيضا. هنا بالنصوص القانونية بها نوع من الإلزام. استخدامات الزمن مثل ما نعرفه، زمن المستقبل هو يعبرنا عن النية، إذن لا يعبرنا عن وقت، عن زمان. يعني هنا he will change his job، يعني في النية يغير، يعني بالترجمة من الترجمة هو في النية تغيير وظيفته. ما نقول سوف، يعني هنا يعني الترجمة هذه حرفية سوف. will travel abroad، يعني في النية أو يعني أيضا نستخدم سوف، ولكن هنالك في النية السفر إلى الخارج أو نروم السفر إلى الخارج. I will not need it، لا أحتاجه. لا يغيرون رقم تليفونهم. وهل ستخوض الامتحان؟ والاستخدام الثاني هو للتوقعات أو لإبداء الآراء. أوكي. مثلا نقول ستمطر وفرا في الشتاء أو صقيعا، الحصان لن يفوز الحصان. وعندما ننتقل للحالة الثالثة، المستقبل هنا ممكن أن نستخدم مع بعض الأفعال والظروف اللي هن هنا نفترض شيء ما. أوكي. ولسنا متأكدين منه، كالفعل يعتقد أو متأكد أو يأمل أو يفترض أو من المحتمل أو بالتأكيد وهكذا. وأيضا المستقبل ممكن أن يستخدم للقرار أو العرض اللي احنا نقوم به في لحظة التحدث. مثلا خاصة بالconversation، can I walk you home؟ ممكن أن أرافقك إلى البيت؟ كلا شكرا، I will take a taxi، راح أخذ تاكسي. بينما لاحظوا هنا هذه النقطة المهمة، أنا اللي أراه أنه زمن المستقبل يعبر عنه going to، هذا هو التعبير الحقيقي لزمن المستقبل. وكل طالباتي تعرف أنه أنا دائما أشير هاي النقطة. I'm going to call you call مريم. يعني هنا بمعنى ليس هنالك نية وإنما للمستقبل. أوكي. وإذا هنا هذه يعني قرار. أوكي. أني أخذته قبل لحظة التحدث، إذا بمستقبل. Here we are still talking about the future, but this one is the future continuous tense. We have almost the same forms that we already discussed in case of other tenses. Sorry, the positive statement, negative statement, question form, negative question. But here the cases in which the future continuous tense is used are different. The first case in which it is used for activities that will be in progress at a point of time. What does that mean? It means that the action will start before that point of time, it is time here, and will continue after it. The point in time can be given by time expressions or by other activities. Let us see in the examples how we can use this in case of the activities that will be in progress. First example, at 8 o'clock I will be traveling to Dorset. This time tomorrow we will be lying on the beach. In these two sentences, the point of time that we refer to is given by a time expression. The time expression here is at 8 o'clock and this time morning. The other second examples, the shop will be closed. Will you be working? The other example, I will be sleeping when you come back. So in these two sentences, the point of time that we refer to is given by another action. What are these actions? These actions are will you be working and when you come back. The second case in which we are going to use this tense, when this tense describes the idea that an action will happen in the normal course of events. It refers to routine activities, not intentions, decisions, or plans. So let us see in these three examples. I will be writing to you again. It means that I used to write to you, so I will do it again as usual. They will be leaving on Friday. You can join them. They normally leave on Fridays. This is normal, a routine. Everybody will be working on a computer sooner or later. Here, if nothing special happens. So, a decision or plan. هنا الصيغ لزمن المستقبل المستمر هي تقريبا نفس الصيغ بالنسبة للأزمنة التي شرحناها سابقا، ولكن الاستخدامات لا شك تختلف. الاستخدام الأول هو نستخدم هذا الزمن للدلالة على الفعاليات التي هي في طور العمل، يعني لا زالت تعمل ولا زالت مستمرة في نقطة معينة من الوقت وليس الزمن. وهذه الفعالية تبدأ قبل تلك النقطة من الوقت وتستمر إلى ما بعدها. وهذه النقطة بالوقت ممكن أنه تتضح صورتها من خلال بعض التعابير عن الوقت أو بعض الفعاليات، كما في المثالين الأولين هنالك استخدمنا تعابير الوقت، وفي المثالين الآخرين استخدمنا شنو؟ استخدمنا other activities، يعني فعاليات أخرى للدلالة على استمرارية الزمن في المستقبل. الاستخدام الثاني، هذا الزمن يصف لنا فكرة بأنه هنالك عملية ستحصل بالمسار الاحتيادي للأحداث. وهنا الزمن يشير إلى الفعاليات أو النشاطات الروتينية وليست النوايا أو القرارات أو الخطط كما في هذه الأمثلة. لذلك عندما نقول سأكتب لك مرة أخرى أو سأراسلك مرة أخرى، ما المقصود به؟ مقصود به أنه أنا تعودت أن أكتب إليك وسأفعل ذلك مرة أخرى، يعني كالعادة. وهذا ينطبق على المثالين الآخرين. Here we are going to see whether we could use other tenses to indicate future continuous tense. Of course, some of the tenses, like the present tenses, could be used for future, but in this case they have a different meaning. A different meaning from what? From the future tense. Here in the examples, we have one example in the present continuous tense and the second in the future continuous tense, and we will see the similarity because we are going to use the present tense to indicate future, but here we will see that there is a difference in the meaning from the future. We are going to the cinema next weekend. It means that we have already arranged it We know the time and place and probably have the tickets. On the other hand, when we are going to use the future continuous tense, we'll be going to the cinema next weekend. It means that we have not arranged anything, and probably we do not even know which film we want to see. We only say how we will spend the weekend. In the other two examples, I'm seeing Sama tomorrow. I have some reason here. Sama and I have arranged the time and place. In the future continuous tense, I will be seeing Sama tomorrow. Sama is my classmate, and because I will go to school tomorrow, I will see her as usual. In the other examples, you can see that the first ones express intentions, while the second ones, there's no intention, but we are going to express what? Routine activities. Omar won't play football tomorrow. It means that Omar cannot play or does not want to play for some reason. Omar won't be playing football tomorrow. It means that Omar will not play because it will be Friday and he never plays on Fridays. I will call Mimi tonight. I will ask her. It means that I will do it because I need to talk to her. I will be calling Mimi tonight. I can ask her. It means I call her every night. That is why I will call her tonight too. لاحظ هنا أنه بعض الأزمنة ممكن استخدامها للدلالة على زمن المستقبل، وهذه الأزمنة هو زمن المضارع المستمر. لكن هنا طبعا اختلاف في المعنى من خلال لاحظتوا من خلال هذه الأمثلة اللي سقناها قبل قليل. Now we are going to move the perfective tenses. It means all tenses that have the perfective form. We start with the present perfect simple. This tense is made with the present simple form of the verb to have, means have and has, and the past participle like cooked, written. In this case actually the ed here is ed2 because the ed1, as I explained when we were talking about past simple tense, it was ed1. This tense is similar to other perfect tenses. The forms of this tense are almost the same like other tenses. We have the positive, the negative statement, the question, the negative question. What about the cases in which this tense is used? First of all, we use the present perfect simple for activities or states that started in the past and still continue. So these activities happened in certain point in the past, but they continue until the moment of speaking. Let's have a look at the examples. We have lived here since 2001. She has known me for more than 2 years. I haven't seen her since Christmas. How long have they been here? It is often used with expressions indicating that the activities come up to now, such as for 10 years, since 1995, all week, all the time, always, lately, recently. So these expressions could be used with the present perfect simple. As in the examples, we have always, look here, always, we have always worked in York. What does that mean? It means we still work in York. It has been quite cold lately. It is still cold. If the activity started and ended in the past, we cannot use the present perfect. I have smoked for 5 years. I still smoke. I smoked for 5 years. Here I use the what? The past simple tense. It means I smoked, for example, from 2000 and until 2005. Then I stopped because I talked about, definite time. We can use the present perfect simple to describe some experience that happened in the past. Here the time is not given, not like the others. We have like always, for 10 years, since, already, lately, recently. Look at this example. She has been to London. The effects are important now. So it means that she knows London. إذن هذا الزمن كيف نصيغه؟ نصيغه باستخدام فعل have بالزمن المضارع have and has، والتصريف الثالث للفعل. وهنالك صيغ ممكن نستخدمها في حالة الإثبات والنفي والسؤال والسؤال المنفي. وهنالك استخدامين لهذا الزمن. الأول هو للتعبير عن الفعاليات أو الحالات التي بدأت في الماضي ولا تزال مستمرة لحين لحظة الحديث، وقد أعطينا بعض الأمثلة عنها. وقد يستخدم هنا مع التعابير التي تشير إلى الفعاليات الآتية، أوكي، والمستمرة لحد اللحظة. وهنا نستخدم بعض التعابير كيف ل10 سنوات أو منذ عام 1995 وطوال الأسبوع أو كل الوقت أو دائما أو مؤخرا أو حديثا. وإذا ما كانت العملية قد تمت أو بدأت عفوا وانتهت في الماضي، هنا من المستحيل أن نستخدم المضارع التام، لأن العملية بدأت وانتهت في وقت محدد. إذن نستخدم الزمن الماضي البسيط. الاستخدام الآخر هو لوصف حالة أو تجربة حصلت أوكي في الماضي، والوقت هنا غير معطى، لكن تأثيراته هو مهمة هنا، كما في المثال الأخير كانت في لندن. We continue talking about present perfect simple, and we have one case left in which we are going to use this kind of tense. But let us first examine some of the examples here, like I have already been to Greece. Here it means I experience being there, and I want to go somewhere else now. I have been in Greece for 2 weeks. Here the state, it means I'm still in Greece. When we use this tense to express some experience, we can use the following adverbs like ever, never, already, often, occasionally, yet, before, etc. Have you ever tried it? We used ever here. She has never read this book. Never. We haven't seen it yet. Yet. Have you fallen off a bike yet? I haven't met her before. Before. The last case in which it is used for activities that have a present result. The bus hasn't arrived. What does that mean? It means it didn't arrive on time. So there's a mistake, spelling mistake. And we are still waiting now. I haven't bought a new house. I did it last month, and it means that now I have a new address. For such activities, we often use these adverbs, yet, already, just. Let's see these examples in which these adverbs are used. They haven't finished their homework yet. It means that they cannot go out now. Has she signed it yet? It means, can I take the document? I've already sent the letter. It means that there is no need to go to the post office anymore. We have just heard the news. It means we know about it. إذن هنالك استخدام آخر لزمن المضارع التام البسيط، وهنا لتجربة، يعني واحد يأخذ تجربة، كأن نقول مؤخرا كنت في اليونان، يعني بما معنى أنه أنا أريد أذهب إلى مكان آخر الآن. أو أقول أنه أنا كنت في اليونان لمدة أسبوعين، بما معنى أنه لازلت هناك، الحالة. وعندما نستخدم هذا الزمن للتعبير عن بعض التجارب، ممكن نستخدم بعض الظروف هنا، never, ever, already, often, occasionally, yet, and before، كما ذكرنا في الأمثلة التي سقناها قبل قليل. والاستخدام الأخير هو للفعاليات التي لها نتيجة حاضرة، نتيجة حالية. وبمثال نقول أنه لم تصل الحافلة القصد هنا أنها لم تصل في الوقت المحدد ولا زلنا ننتظر. واشتريت بيتا جديدا. مقصود بي أنا سبق وأن اشتريت، ويعني أنه الآن أنا عندي عنوان أخير وانتقلت إلى بيت آخر. لبعض الفعاليات أيضا غالبا ما نستخدم الظروف كيت already just، وهنا تختلف المعاني أيضا. عندما نقول لم أنهي واجب البيت لحد الآن، مقصود أنه لا أستطيع أن أذهب الآن أو أخرج الآن. وعندما نسأل هل وقعت مثلا ورقة أو شيء، يعني الآن هنا أنا بمقصود بها يعني هل أستطيع أن أخذ الورقة أو الوثيقة. وسبق وأن أرسلت رسالة، مقصود به بعد ماكو حاجة أنه أروح لدائرة البريد وأرسل الرسالة. وهناك أيضا مثال أخير، سمعت بالأخبار للتو، مقصود يعني أنا أعرف عن الأخبار. It is the 8 tense we are going to discuss now. It is the present perfect continuous. As we experienced before, we have some forms of any tense, and like other tenses, the perfect continuous, present perfect continuous has several forms, like the positive statement, negative statement, question, and negative question. This tense is made with the present simple form of the verb to have, like have and has, just in the case of the present perfect simple. And the past participle of the verb to be, been, and the present participle, okay, like playing, doing, whatever. It is similar to the future perfect continuous and past perfect continuous. We come to the cases in which this tense is used. We use the present perfect continuous for events that began at a point of time, are continuing now, and will probably continue in the future. Let's go through these examples. I have been playing tennis since I was 6 years old. She has been working here for 15 years. What does that mean? It means that this action began at a point of time, and till now it is continuing and probably continue in the future. The second case in which we use this tense for actions that began in the past and have only just finished. It happened in definite time in the past and now finished. I've been skiing all day. I'm so tired. Hello. We've been waiting for you since 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. The third usage, verbs that express a single action like find, start, stop, lose, break, are not used in the continuous form. They have started the fight, but we cannot say they have been starting the fight. we can say I have lost my purse, but I cannot say I have been losing my purse. So pay attention here to these verbs. إذن زمن المضارع التام المستمر له صيغ كما هو الحال بالأفعال الأخرى في الإثبات والنفي والسؤال المنفي. وصياغة هذا الفعل الزمن باستخدام أحد أفعال have والتصريف الثالث الفعل be verb to be اللي هو been والpresent participle يعني شنو هو the verb plus ing الفعل مضاف إليه ing. إذن هو شبيه إلى زمن المستقبل المستمر وزمن الماضي التام المستمر. استخداماته يستخدم للأحداث التي تحصل في وقت معين وتستمر لحد الآن، وقد ومن المحتمل أن تستمر في المستقبل، كما في الأمثلة التي تطرقنا إليها. واستخدام الآخر تستخدم بالنسبة للحالات التي تبدأ أو الأفعال التي تبدأ بالماضي وانتهت للتو. والاستخدام الأخير هو أنه بعض الأفعال التي تعبر عن فعل مفرد ك find, start, stop, lose, break and so on لا تستخدم مع صيغة الفعل المضارع التام المستمر، وإنما تستخدم فقط في صيغة المضارع التام. We still talk about the cases in which the present perfect continuous is used. Now we move to the fourth one. There is a difference between a single action in the simple and continuous. Let us have a look at these examples. I have painted the hall. What does that mean? It means that I have completed my work. I'm done. I have been painting the hall. That is how I have spent the day. But it doesn't mean that I have finished my job. The fifth one, a single action in the present perfect continuous comes up to the time of speaking, but it is different with the simple tense. She's been cooking dinner. It means she is still in the kitchen, she has just finished, or she will continue cooking. She has cooked dinner. We don't know when, yesterday or very recently. The result is important here. The sixth use of this present perfect continuous, we can only use the present perfect continuous for uninterrupted actions. I've been visiting New York for a couple of years. She has been writing letters since she got up. In these sentences we describe one uninterrupted incomplete activity. If the action is repeated or interrupted, we describe a number of completed individual actions. We must use what? We must use the simple form. We can see the past tense rules we explained earlier. I have visited New York 3 times. Here we didn't use what? The present perfect continuous. We use what? The present perfect simple. She has written 4 letters since she got up. Here we use what? We use the present perfect only. إذن الاستخدام الرابع هنا هنالك اختلاف ما بين الحالة أو الفعل المفرد بالحالة البسيطة والحالة حالة الاستمرارية. إذا ما قلنا صبغت القاعة بما معنى أنه انتهيت منها، وأقول لا زلت أقوم بصباغة القاعة. إذن هنا يعني أن قضيت اليوم كله، ولا يعني أنه أنا أنجزت عملي على وجه التمام. الاستخدام الخامس بالنسبة للفعل المفرد بهذا الزمن يرتقي إلى يعني يصل إلى حد وقت التحدث، يعني له علاقة بوقت التحدث، لكن يكون مختلفا مقارنة بالزمن البسيط. المقصود بالزمن البسيط هو هنا الزمن المضارع التام البسيط. والمثالين هنا يوضحان الاختلاف. الاستخدام السادس هنا شرط أن نستخدم المضارع التام المستمر للفعاليات المنقطعة، يعني غير المستمرة. ولدينا أيضا مثالين في هذه الحالة. وفي هاتين الجملتين نصف أنه واحدة من الفعاليات التي لم تكتمل وانقطعت. إذا ما كان العمل متكرر أو معاد أو منقطع، هنا يجب أن نستخدم السمبل فورم، يعني المضارع التام، وليس المضارع التام المستمر كما في المثالين في النهاية. Now we move to the 9th tense, which is past perfect. What is a past perfect? When we are going to use it, and what are the forms of this verb? The forms here, we make this tense by the auxiliary verb had plus past participle, which is different from for gerund and irregular verbs. The ed ending, it means here the ed is what? The ed2 for regular verbs like work, worked, travel, traveled, try, tried. And these forms are different from the irregular verbs like write, wrote, written, make, made, made, sing, sang, sang. And we have certain forms here: the positive statement, negative question, negative question. We have cases in which we are going to use this type of tense. We use the past perfect simple tense to make it clear that an event was completed before another event when in the past. Look in these examples. We have 3 examples here. The doorbell rang at last. I had been in the room since breakfast. What does that mean? It means that the bell rang at noon. Then I came in the morning before that. Okay, so an event was completed before another event. When I arrived there, Sarah had already left. It means I arrived after lunch. Okay, Sarah went home before lunch. I was hungry. I had not eaten anything since the morning. It was late at night, it means. The second use of this tense is to refer to activities that were completed before a point of time. Here, look, here, time. In 2005, I had lived in the same place for 10 years. That happened in the past and completed in the past. Before what? A point of time. Had you ever traveled by plane before your holiday in Spain? Here we are asking. إذن زمن الماضي التام يصاغ بالفعل المساعد had في الزمن الماضي من have، والتصريف الثالث للفعل. وهنا طبعا مثل ما نوهت انه الافعال القياسيه نضيف لها ايدي اللي هي ايدي تو، اما الافعال الشاذه فلها قاعده خاصه. ولدينا ايضا عده صيغ لها صيغه الجمله المثبته والمنفيه والسؤال المنفي. أما فيما يتعلق بالاستخدامات فنستخدم هذا الزمن لإيضاح أن حدث ما انتهى قبل حدث آخر، كما في المثالين عفوا الثلاث أمثلة الأولى. والاستخدام الثاني هو للإشارة إلى فعاليات انتهت قبل نقطة من الزمن، قبل فترة من الزمن، كما في التاريخ in 2005 here. اوكي. وايضا عندنا before your holiday in Spain. هذه هي الفترات. In this slide we have a comparison between the use of past perfect tense and the past simple. Look here, we should be very careful when we are using these two tenses together. The past perfect tense is often used with expressions indicating that some activities took place sometime, such as for 10 years, since 1995, all week, all the time, always, etc. These activities happened or took place or began before a point of time or another action and continued to that point in the past. Look here in these examples. When the plane landed, here past tense, Tamara had traveled all day. My parents moved away from Mosul. They had lived there since they got married. In 2005, Bushra started to work in Dubai. She had always planned it. These expressions are also used with the present perfect as well. Look here. Which refers, however, to activities that started in the past and still continue. So here a comparison between the past perfect and what the present perfect. Let's explain this in these two examples. I have been in Turkey for a week. This is for the present perfect. It means I came a week ago and I'm still in Turkey. When I met Omar, I had been in Turkey for a week. It means I came to Turkey a week before I met Omar and I'm not there anymore. We also use the past perfect tense for an action that ended a long time before the point of time we refer to. Like in 2001, Asil worked in Jordan, but in the past perfect we say in the 90s she had worked in Morocco. What does that mean? It means that Asil left her job in Jordan in 1989, but in 2001 she worked in Morocco. But we do not know what she did in the meantime. إذن هنا نميز ما بين الزمن الماضي التام والزمن الماضي البسيط والزمن المضارع التام أيضا. ووضحنا أنه في الزمن الماضي التام نستخدم بعض التعابير للدلالة على الوقت، وهنا هنالك بعض الفعاليات التي بدأت قبل نقطة من الزمن أو حدث ما واستمرت إلى تلك النقطة في الماضي. وهذه التعابير في الأمثلة الثلاثة الأولى تستخدم مع الزمن عفوا التمارين الأخرى الثانية تستخدم مع الزمن المضارع التام اللي هو يشير إلى فعاليات بدأت في الماضي ولا زالت مستمرة في زمننا، كما ذكرت هنا I have been in Turkey for a week. والمقصود هنا أنه أنا جئت إلى تركيا قبل أسبوع ولا زلت فيها. والاستخدام الآخر هو أنه الماضي التام يستخدم لفعالية ما انتهت في وقت ما مسبقا قبل نقطة من الزمن يشار إلها، وهنا المقارنة ما بين زمنين الزمن الماضي والزمن الماضي التام. One of the problematic usage of the past perfect tense when we are using it in time clauses. In time clauses, after when, we use the past simple if we want to say that the first activity led to the second and that the second followed the first very closely. Look here in the example, we have the what? We have the past simple tense. When the film ended, he switched off the television. While in the perfect form, we use it when we want to make it clear that the first event was completed before the second started and that there is no relation between them. As in this example, when she had washed the dishes, she had a cup of tea. It means that the first event was completed, okay, in the past, before the second started, and that there is no relation between these two actions. But when we say when she washed the dishes, she put the plates in the cupboard, here we used both what simple past tense. If we use after in a time clause, the perfect is much more usual. After Zidane had scored the goal, the fans went wild. We use this tense similarly with as soon as, until, before, by the time, as in these three examples. He got up as soon as he had heard the alarm clock. We didn't stop until we had reached the coast. Maria had finished her meal by the time I arrived. إذن من المشكلات اللي نعانيها أيضا ويعانيها طلبتنا إنه استخدام زمن الماضي التام في عبارات الزمن اللي هي بعد when. وهنا يجب أن نفرق ما بين استخدام when في حالة الماضي البسيط والماضي التام، وأيضا نستخدمها بعد after، وهنا أكثر شيوعا وأكثر استخداما كما في مثال زيدان. وأيضا نستخدم بعض العبارات الزمن as soon as في حالة الربط، وهنا تصبح as a complex sentence. إذن هذا فيما يتعلق باستخدام زمن الماضي التام في عبارات الوقت. Let's move to the new topic, which is the past perfect progressive or continuous. This is the 10th tense in our basic tenses in English. The form of this tense is done by using the auxiliary had been plus present participle, means ing ending, like working, trying, writing, singing, and so on. The positive statement, I had been doing; negative statement, I had not been doing. Question form, had I been doing; negative question, had I not been doing, and so on. So, what are the cases in which we are going to use this tense? We use it for activities that began before a point of time and were still continuing at that point of time. Here, continuing. Last summer, Jinan had been renovating her house for 2 years. Look here. It means she started 3 years ago, and last summer he or she was still renovating his or her house. Here we have a note that the past perfect continuous and the present perfect continuous are basically very similar. Look, this is a problem as well, okay? The similarity in certain tenses is a problem by itself. The difference is, however, that in the present perfect we refer the present times. I have been practicing since the morning. It means I'm still, okay, practicing. At 11 o'clock I had been practicing for 2 hours. Look here, I began 9 o'clock, and at 11 o'clock I was still practicing, but in the first one I'm still practicing. إذن لدينا هنا الزمن العاشر، وهو زمن الماضي المستمر، ويصاغ هذا من الفعلين المساعدين had في الماضي، وتصريف الثالث للفعل been زائدا اسم الفاعل present participle. والصياغات هي تشبه صياغات الأزمنة الأخرى. وأما فيما يتعلق بالاستخدام فهو يستخدم للدلالة على بعض الفعاليات التي تبدأ قبل فترة من الزمن ولا زالت مستمرة في نقطة ما في الماضي، وكما في مثال جنان. وهنا ملاحظة مهمة، هنالك تشابه بين زمنين هما زمن الماضي المستمر والزمن المضارع المستمر، لكن الزمن المضارع المستمر يشير إلى الزمن الحالي. لذلك في المثالين الأخيرين نلاحظ أنه العملية يعني البراكتسينج الميراث لا زالت مستمرة في الحاضر، بينما في المثال الثاني كانت مستمرة لكنها في الماضي. Here we are going to make a distinction between the past perfect simple, vice versa past perfect continuous. And again, this is a problem as well by using the tenses. So mastering the tenses is a must to distinguish or differentiate between each of the tenses, especially the more closer tenses. For activities that can continue for a long time, we can use both simple and continuous in the verbs like work, run, study, travel, sleep, and so on. There is practically no difference in meaning, but the continuous is more usual in English. Widad was pretty tired. She had worked all day. Widad was pretty tired. She had been working all day. In other cases there, these two forms have a completely different meaning. Before midnight, Amal had translated the article. What does that mean? It means she finished her work. Before midnight, Amal had been translated the article. She did not finish it. She was still translating. She was in the past still translating at that moment. If we refer to a number of individual events or events that were repeated, we must use the simple. Look here, must use the simple. Before the lesson ended, they had written 3 tests. It means 3 individual completed activities. But it was exhausting. They had been writing tests since the lesson started. Here, one uninterrupted incomplete activity. It means that there is one activity that was interrupted and it was incomplete. إذن هنا واحدة من المشكلات التي نعانيها أيضا هو الاختلاف ما بين الزمن الماضي البسيط والزمن العفو الماضي التام والماضي التام المستمر، بما أنه الفعاليات التي ممكن أن تستمر لوقت طويل ممكن أن نستخدم السمبل، يعني الباست بيرفكت سمبل، وأيضا الباست بيرفكت كونتينيوس as well. وهنالك اختلاف عملي في حين انه ليس هنالك اختلاف في المعنى، بما معنى انه احنا نميل الى استخدام بالانجليزيه نميل الى استخدام الماضي التام المستمر اكثر من الماضي التام كما في المثالين. وفي حالات اخرى هنالك صيغتين يختلفون بالمعنى في المثالين فيما يتعلق بأمل، وأيضا ممكن أن نشير إلى عدد من الفعاليات المفردة في التي تكررت لكنها لم تنتهي. Okay, look here. In the first ones, the 3 individuals completed. Why? Because we use the past and the past perfect, but in the second we use the past progressive or continuous and the past perfect continuous. It means the action here was interrupted and it was incomplete activity. The one before the last is the future perfect simple, which is the 11th tense. The forms are usually the same in case of all tenses. but each case it depends on the case or the structure of the tense itself. In case of the positive statement, I will have worked, or I'll have worked, he will have written, he will have written, and so on. So the form of the future perfect simple is by using the modal auxiliary will, shall, may, might, and so on, plus the verb to have and the past participle. When we are going to use the future perfect simple tense, we use it for activities that will be completed before or at a certain time in the future. When? Here, in the future, the time in the future. It is often used with a time expression beginning with by, like by then, by that time, by midnight, by the end of the year, by the end of the week. Okay. On the other hand, we must be careful with other time expressions because this tense cannot be used in time clauses. Look, cannot be used in time clauses with expressions such as when, while, before, after, as soon as, if, unless, etc., which are normally used in time clauses with other tenses. The time can also be given by other time expressions like on Sunday, before 13th of June, 31st of June, or actions. In these examples, we will explain this usage of the future perfect simple. I will have sent the project by Friday. On the 11th of August this year, we will have been married for 5 years. When the mountaineers get back to the base, they will have been in the snowstorm for 2 days. We'll have reached the top before the noon. How long will she have worked here by the end of this year? In all these examples, at a given time, the actions will be in the past. In the past. إذن فيما يتعلق بالزمن المستقبل التام البسيط، قلنا يصاغ باستخدام أحد أدوات المودل verbs، الأفعال المساعدة التقلبية، وزائدا verb to have إضافة إلى التصريف الثالث للفعل. وهنا التصريف الثالث للفعل طبعا يجب أن نعرف أنه يختلف فيما يتعلق بالأفعال القياسية وأفعال الشاذة. لدينا استخدامات لهذا الزمن، وهو استخدام للدلالة على بعض الفعاليات التي قد تكون اكتملت أوكي قبل أو في وقت ما بالمستقبل. إذن عادة ما نستخدمها نستخدم معاها بعض التعابير للدلالة على الوقت by then and extra. من الجانب الآخر يجب أن نكون حذرين عندما نستخدم بعض تعابير الوقت، لأن هذا الزمن قلنا لا يمكن أن يستخدم في العبارات الظرفية الزمنية مع تعابير كأنه as, when, while, before and after، اللي هي عادة تستخدم في التايم كلوزز مع الأزمنة الأخرى. وسقنا بعض الأمثلة للتعريف بهذا الزمن. We come to the last tense, which is the future perfect continuous. The forms, as I mentioned before, are the same for all tenses. But here, how to form this tense? We form it by one of the modal auxiliaries, shall, will, may, might, must, and so on. The verb to have and the past participle of the verb be, it means been, and the present participle, it means like writing and so on. So we use the future perfect continuous tense for activities that will continue until a point of time and will not be completed. Not be completed. It is also normally used with by or other time expressions and future events. Like in the examples, I will go home on 20th of June. By then I will have been staying at this hotel for a fortnight. At 6 o'clock we will have been waiting here for 3 hours. When you arrive, we will have been sitting in the classroom all day. Here, let us make a comparison between the simple perfect continuous and the future perfect continuous, because this is very important, and these are one of the mistakes most of us are committing. So the continuous tense, as I mentioned, that it is incomplete and uninterrupted action. If we refer to a number of individual events or events that were repeated, we must use the simple. And then look here in these examples. In the first one, when I'm 60, I'll have been building houses for 30 years. What does that mean? It means one incomplete activity. I'll have been building house for 30 years. يعني عملية مستمرة في المستقبل تمام، لكنها لم تكتمل. الجملة الثانية، when I'm 60 I'll have built more than 50 houses. Look here, استخدمنا شنو؟ future perfect, but the simple one, not the continuous. Here 50 individuals actions. Okay, by 5 o'clock I'll have been washing this car for an hour and a half. It means one uninterrupted activity, only one. By 5 o'clock I'll have washed this car and replaced the tires. 2 completed actions that will be done one after another. إذن المتبقي في آخر ورشتنا لهذا اليوم هو زمن المستقبل التام المستمر، وكما أشرنا أنه يصاغ من أحد أفعال القياس، الأفعال عفوا المساعدة اللي هي أفعال تستخدم للمستقبل أو نسميها أفعال التقلبية المودال فيربس، مع verb to have، وأيضا التصريف الثالث الفعل be هو been، والpresent participle اللي هو the be infinitive plus ing form. استخداماته يستخدم الزمن المستقبل التام المستمر للإشارة إلى فعاليات تستمر لحد وقت معين، و أيضا سي ولا تكتمل في تلك اللحظة. لذلك ممكن أن نستخدم بعض التعابير ك by then and so on. أعطينا بعض الأمثلة هنا فيما يتعلق ب the actions that the continuous actions in certain time point in the future. We make a comparison here between the simple future perfect and the future perfect continuous. This is very important. هذه مهمة جدا حقيقة، ونوهت إلى أنه يجب أن يكون هنالك اختلاف، لأن هنالك فعاليات قد تكون منقطعة في حالة الكونتينيوس المستمر، وفعاليات واحدة تلي الأخرى في حالة الزمن البسيط، يعني المستقبل البسيط. إلى هنا ننتهي من ورشتنا. طبعا عذرا للإطالة، لأن الموضوع يستحق أن يأخذ أكثر من ورشة، ونتمنى أن تكونوا قد استفدتم من كل ما طرحناه، وأتمنى لكم ليلة سعيدة والتوفيق للجميع والنجاح والموفقية والصحة والسلامة لكم، وإلى اللقاء في ورش أخرى. والآن أنتظر أسئلتكم فيما يتعلق بالمادة التي طرحت لهذا اليوم، وشكرا لحضوركم، شكرا جزيلا.